really don't need
Okay, we are live. Just 5 seconds. So people don't know about this meeting. This is a whole secret, Jonas. Welcome. She's going to take 5 seconds, like always do. Many people question, why do you always take 5 seconds? It's because I gotta make sure the system exactly.
Is he?
Yeah.
Can you lower mine a little bit?
Yes, we can do
I'm
that.
from Brooklyn. I'm loud. Get out of it.
Just start, yeah, I know, as I said, we don't need a mic.
No. The microphone over here. Can you speak? Microphone is gonna be here. Can you speak a little bit so we can see that you loud?
Are we loud enough?
Big Mac, a side of fries and a vanilla shake?
Right there.
No? White
Castle's my favorite.
Oh gosh,
Right
you
there.
gotta go like that.
No, you have to be raised on it.
There's a ball.
Right to your stomach.
Cheeseburger.
There he goes. Yo.
White Castle's the best.
White Castle.
I don't do breakfast.
Cleansing.
Vanilla shake.
Love it.
So good?
Okay, for all the people that are watching us live in Facebook, good morning. This is a special meeting. We didn't plan to do this, and I'm sorry that many people don't want to see it live. The idea of this meeting is because we want to let you know exactly what's happening with this bill. Unfortunately, we haven't had the opportunity to understand the complexity of this situation that we're going through right now. So thanks God we have two ladies, Ms. Gail Tooth from the New Jersey Motor Trucking Association. One applause, please. And from the ISD Motor Carrier, we have the lady, Ms. Lisa Paul. Let me see if I said the last name. Okay, they're going to be here talking about what's going to happen with this bill. How is this going to affect you as an independent driver? How can this change your life? And if we don't act together as a group, what's going to happen to all of us? Okay? We all love driving a truck, and we all love driving our truck. We choose that. We know why we do it. It's a lot of hard work. It's a lot of fights that we have to continue doing for changing our industry. But what we want to send with this meeting is the message that we are very happy going through all those challenges that being independent it is. So by saying that, I'm going to give the microphone to Ms. Lisa. Sorry, I'm just a little.
We're gonna start with me, and she's gonna follow.
Okay,
the
so
plans.
the plan is.
I'm gonna give you the law and the regulation, and she's gonna tell us how to respond.
Okay, Ms. Gail. So I just want you to be close to the microphone because I want to make sure the camera is in there. So, yeah. Okay, so we're going to start with Ms. Gail from the New Jersey Motor Trucking Association. And she's going to,
That's quite all right.
and you can go there. Go ahead.
All right. Well, again, good morning. I'm glad you came here. We're all taking some time off from our lives, have our weekends here. I wanted to we want to reach out to the community about what's been going on in Trenton. And I know you've heard a lot of things. There's a lot of rumors, a lot of things in the newspaper, and hopefully some of you have already participated in some of the things that Lisa will be talking about after I speak. We just want to first give you an idea of give you the correct information as to what happened, okay? So for the last couple of weeks, there's been two bills. One bill was in the Senate, went to the Senate Labor Committee, and this bill was designed to change the ABC test. It also made all tests in New Jersey for employment to be deemed an employee first, and everybody in New Jersey is first an employee. And then you have this ABC test that if you pass, then you could be deemed an independent contractor. But the DOL commissioner has to say that. They have to review what you've done or what you do and make that determination. So let me give you a little bit more detail about what the bill says. Okay? Well, first and foremost, the Senate bill passed, and it passed out of committee. A week later, they had an assembly bill. You have to have two. But anything can happen between now and then. So what your actions are, at least we'll tell you about what you can do, will be very, very important and critical as to how this process goes. So, the two bills are fairly identical. The assembly bill had an amendment and put back the old language and said you could be this or that. The old language, which is always hard for us anyway, but let me diverge to the actual bill. The bill says that it'll apply to all businesses in the state of New Jersey. The law states, it is shown with satisfaction to the Commissioner of the Department of Labor. The service provider meets a newly revised ABC test, which is what they're doing, the ABC test. So what they're saying is, everybody's an employee in New Jersey unless you can pass this ABC test, okay? So everyone's an employee, and then if you can pass the ABC test and show the DOL commissioner you can do that, then you could be an independent contractor, okay? And what it did though, it revised the current ABC test, but there's conflict, and I believe he said last night, Sweeney said he's gonna amend his bill.
Yeah, I'll talk about that.
Officially.
Wow.
That's come out last night.
There were some changes, that were, yeah, I was gonna say, these bills, there's the Senate bill, the Assembly bill, they are different now. It was announced last night that he is gonna make them stop. We need to keep this going because, as Gail is gonna explain to you, there's still a couple of more steps coming, and they're coming fast. They're doing this really, really fast. It could happen by mid-December that they could be voting on this, and we don't know what the bills are gonna look like. We know what they look like right now. We know what Senator Sweeney said last night, what they will both look like in a few days, but we don't know what they're gonna try to pass. And we are watching out for you and for all independent contractors in the state. We're concerned with the truckers. And we want to make sure that they don't put anything in this bill that will hurt you and your ability to work at the port. So that's our number one priority, is to make sure you guys can keep your businesses and work for yourselves if that's what you want. And they tried to make it impossible. Now it's back to tough again. You know, so Gail's going to talk a little bit about what the test is, what they tried to change, where it is now. But what I'm going to talk about after she's done is what we've been doing to spread the word about you guys, what you do at the port, why independent contractors, 77% of you that drive at the port are independent, okay? That's a huge number, and people need to listen to you. People don't listen to you, and that's the problem. You need a voice.
What they did is on the there's an ABC, okay? And most states have an ABC test. Some of them are similar, some of them are the same, some of them are different. Some states interpret the B portion differently than we interpret it here in New Jersey, okay? But now they're attempting to change it, and apparently from what we heard, we'll have to wait to see the actual language, because the language in the Assembly bill gives it a this or that. Either you do that. So at least you have an option, which gives you the old language plus the new language, or the new language. So the A prong is often referred to control. Who's under control? If you don't want to go to New York, you don't have to go. If you don't want to work tomorrow, you don't have to. If you want to take a 3-month vacation, you can. You want to work 3 days a week, you can. It's all what you want to do. So that's easy for us to pass. We can, you know, most truckers can pass the A portion of the ABC test, and they didn't touch it. They pretty much left it over. The B portion, this is the critical portion of the business for which the service is performed, or the service is performed outside all places of the business of the employer for which the service is performed. There's a lot of words, they're confusing. Sort of like a subjective word. Like you might think it means something, you might think it means something else. That's the problem. It's not specific. And that's really the problem that we have with a lot of regs. You need them to be specific for the people to follow them properly. Rather now, this is the version I passed out of the Senate, companies must show that the service provider businesses are different from the company's business. So what they were trying to pass was that you're working for a trucking company, you're providing trucking services. So you can't do that. But now what you could do is, if you're providing, this is our interpretation of the B, the way we believe it should be. If you're providing trucking services, but you're doing it outside the place of the business, like we just described, you pick up your paperwork, you go out and do your thing, you make your deliveries, your portion of the service is on the highways. You know, your portion is making that pickup or delivery, providing transportation.
Your truck is
Okay.
your office. That's
Yeah,
where you
so to
work.
speak.
Your truck is your mobile
Yeah,
office.
you're
That
not
is your
sitting in
place
the
of
trucking
business.
company's office filling out
Right.
paperwork.
You can't pick up a box at the place where the dispatcher is. Your office is your truck. That is your place of business, and that is outside.
Yeah,
of
you're
the
not doing
person you're
customer
leased with.
service or
Right.
anything like that. So you're out. So that's the way we interpret it. Not some people might interpret it different, but that's how we interpret it. So now they have a C prong. They also made an adjustment there, and that's not going to really impact us too severely. The C prong basically says the individual is customarily engaged in an independent, established trade, occupation, profession, or business of the same nature that involve the work performed. So in here, an example would be that if you're, a plumber, you have to provide plumbing services. If you're a lawyer and you became a lecturer at a college, you're not a lawyer at the college being a lecturer, so that wouldn't count. If you're a trucker working for trucking, your profession is a truck driver, then that would seem to, we believe, the interpretation would be that you would be okay to pass. So we know we can pretty much pass A and C. It's the B portion that becomes the issue. And hopefully they'll clarify it more. But what they did with this law, they did change some language, and they made it that across the board, all employment tests in New Jersey will be deemed the ABC test. And they also said that all people in New Jersey, to start with, are employees unless you prove otherwise, which means you have to pass the test. And only if the DOL commissioner accepts what evidence you provide. So we'll be talking later on some in discussion portion on some of those things, but right now we wanted to focus on the bill. What a lot of people don't mention is the fact that there were several other bills that got passed the same day out of the assembly. And I just wanted to go over a couple of them very briefly. There was a stop work orders bill. I think this more applies to construction, but what it does is it allows the DOL commissioner to come in if someone says I'm misclassified. The DOL comes in, they think that you are misclassified, they can shut the site down, and they can start fining people up to $5,000. There would be additional penalties, $250 per person that you misclassified. If you do it again, it'll be $1,000 per person that you misclassified. Then they added joint and several liability, and this is also important for us to all understand in our business. The bill amends the New Jersey tax laws, and they include unemployment, temporary disability law, workers' comp, and gross income tax law. It creates a joint and several liability for companies for misclassifying, and this creates issues created by subcontractors. This means that companies would be liable for their contractors, employees, or their contractors' violations. So what they did, this is very similar to California, it's probably where they got this from. So what it's saying is, if the DOL comes in and audits the trucking company that you're contracted to, and they say, well, you're misclassifying, they're not independent contractors, they're employees. Well, if you were hauling for a particular shipping company, then that company would be liable too. And it makes it very, very, very strong that you do not use, people who are being misclassified. Then there is the shaming and debarment law, proposed legislation that passed out of committee. This allows the DOL to post on their website anybody that's been found guilty of misclassifying. They'll list your company and business and post it on a website. Then they passed a bill that said sharing of confidential information. And what that would allow the Department of Treasury to provide to the DOL the tax information, audit files, returns, or any other information that would assist in investigating wage benefits or tax violations. So in other words, we know that there, basically a 1099 would be a red flag. If the Treasury has the 1099s, they could give that to the DOL, so they would find places that they would go and investigate to make sure that those people with 1099s are properly classified as independent. And then lastly, they have passed out of committee mandatory postings and private right to sue for retaliation. And what this bill requires is that all employers to conspicuously post the following notifications in their offices. It would be a statement that the law prohibits misclassifying contractors. It summarizes the ABC test, the benefits and protections to which employees are entitled under wage, benefit, and tax laws, the remedies available to misclassified employees, and how to contact the Department of Labor. The DOL will issue also sample notifications to be sent out. The bill further prohibits retaliation against any contractor who makes a complaint or is about to make a complaint. The bill also creates a private right to action, enabling individuals to sue for retaliation and requiring reinstatement, payment of lost wages and benefits, triple damages, and legal fees upon an adverse decision. Persons who retaliate could also be subject to minor criminal penalties. So, over all of these bills, making everyone initially an employee and then adjusting the B portion that we're already having difficulty with is very serious to our industry and our ability to continue to operate as normal. So what I urge you to do is what Lisa's going to suggest. And if you haven't been participating, please do, because this is not over. Even with this amendment, we don't know, anything can change. Keep your eyes on the Port Driver Association website for the updates. Lisa's updating them with information. We're updating information as we see it at New Jersey Motor Truck and at Bi-State. But we have to have a voice. And I'll tell you this, about 5 years ago when we started, we are also in the process of trying to come up with our own language for an exemption, which we've been working on for many years. And we had a bunch of drivers that came out and spoke to the legislators that were in the Port District. It was an extremely powerful meeting. Was anyone in here at that meeting at the time? Oh, yeah, you were. And it was really powerful. And the legislators were fully aware that they might have been misunderstanding why you do and want to do what you do. Many of them have been told that you're forced into this. And we need to get the word out. You need to get the word out. We represent associations, we're association execs, and we speak on the behalf of our membership. But politicians want to hear from their constituents. How is it going to affect the people that live in their district? You have a very powerful voice. And if you're ever going to use that voice, now is the time. There's a lot of misinformation about independent contractor truckers in this state. And a lot of it is not true. That, you choose this life of work. Because believe me, there's a lot of trucking jobs in New Jersey. You could become an employee driver. Like 5 minutes after you walk out of here, we could probably go on Facebook right now, find a place that I can probably get you hired in about an hour. And you'll get somebody else's truck, and you'll get the 2 weeks vacation and the 7 sick days. And you're good to go. But that's not what you choose to do. You have a very, very expensive vehicle, very expensive to maintain. It's a hard day, it's a hard work, but you do it because this is what you love, this is what you want to do. And if you want to continue to be able to do that, I urge you, and I am not kidding, this is very important, and you should get this word out to every other independent truck driver that you meet, that get aware, become knowledgeable, understand what's happening to you, because this is our opportunity. We may lose it all, and then I don't know what we're going to do. So I'm gonna turn it over to Lisa, because she's done a lot of exciting things, and then we will talk later on about what we could do afterwards.
Sounds good. Okay, so
Gail covered a lot of ground. Wow. Gail covered a lot of ground. So just so that I want to make sure you got all of what she was saying, the issue here is that people want to make sure that independent contractors, people who are classified as independent, are not being taken advantage of. That's what they're saying. That's what you say. So why are they doing this? What's that? My mic's cutting out, I know, but I'm really, give me yours. We'll take yours.
Yeah.
You wanna sit
You
here?
sure? No, I don't want to sit there. I want to stay here. I'm comfy.
Yes.
I'll be like Britney Spears. Hang on.
This is the good thing about life.
Yeah,
You know, a lot of people.
Okay. This is better. I like this better. Okay. Here. There you go. Okay. So, what's the story? Why is this a problem? Why are they doing this? Why are they passing all of these laws about that make things more difficult? Okay. Everything that Gail read off, all of those bills that already made it through the committee, referring to misclassification, what do? She read you specifically what they do. What is the end result, though? It's really going to be scary for any company in the state of New Jersey to hire an independent contractor, to use independent contractor. To lease with, to contract with, yes. You're not employees, you're independent. But it's going to make us all of us who work as independent contractors, less attractive to companies, because as Gail said, these measures that are coming out will embarrass them. Their faces are going to be plastered on the internet, and all of their private information is going to be released, and they're going to be fined, and they can go to, there's other laws that were passed recently, they can go to jail. So it's a really scary time for any company that utilizes independent contractors, because the state is really cracking down. Now, someone who advocates for these bills will tell you, just don't break the law and you'll be fine. Don't break the law, follow the rules. If you follow the rules, you're going to be okay. Until they change the rules, and you're not okay. And that is the problem. Senator Sweeney's bill, in its current form, S4204, changes the rules. It changes the B test so that everybody is an employee, which means all of the companies are breaking the law. And then all those terrible things are going to happen to them. So that's the problem. There is a little good news, just a little. Last night, thanks to all of you and all of the other independent contractors across the state of New Jersey who will be affected by this, speaking up, calling and writing to their legislators, they heard you loud and clear. Senator Sweeney heard you, and he has said that he is going to put back the language in the B portion, the part that we can pass. He's putting it back in and says, don't worry, freelance journalists won't be affected. He didn't mention truckers. He mentioned all the journalists, but not you guys. And so we're still not happy about it. We're still concerned because these bills are still changing. So, they can put stuff in, they can take stuff out, they can switch it around right up to the last second. And that's why we're being so diligent. And that's why you can't let up. You have to let the legislators know. And as Gail says, you have to make people understand that this is what you want. If you want to be independent, why do you want to be independent? You have a right, and your rights are being taken away from you. And that's not okay. And that's why we're here on a Saturday, because you have the right, and I have the right to be independent and to have that flexibility. But no one knows our stories. We need to tell our stories. We need to get it out there. Tell them how?
Tell them how.
All right, let me tell you how. Let's tell you how. I don't know if you follow, you better follow Port Driver Association, obviously. The Bi-State also has a Facebook page. We have a web page with a call to action. I think that Edison has linked to it. I'm also going to give you my card, which has the website on it. And we have all the resources there for you, the phone numbers you need to call, what you can say, the reasons that we've put together in English and in Spanish. If my translation is off, please let me know. It's been a long time since high school. But I tried to do my best to make sure it was translated correctly. But we give you the main talking points, but ultimately you need to speak from the heart and you need to keep calling. We need to call our legislators in District 20. I can tell you that Senator Cryan has been wonderful for us, and Assemblyman Holly. I'd like you all to also call Assemblywoman Quijano and make her understand what's happening with this. We have their phone numbers for you. I printed out a sheet for everybody in Spanish and also one in English with all the phone numbers. But we need you guys to reach out to your legislators, reach out to Senator Sweeney, and make sure that he understands that there's more than just journalists who are affected by this. You are affected by this. You need to speak to Assemblyman Bramnick in the Assembly, and Senator Kane, and Assemblyman Coughlin. These are the leaders of the legislature. You need to make them understand, because we're going to give you some resources afterwards and answer your questions in the Q&A. But there's also a petition that we put up. The Bi-State started an online petition to get signatures that we are going to deliver to Governor Murphy to tell him that if these bills pass through the legislature and get to his desk, and it's not good for the drivers, it still doesn't help you or save you, he needs to veto that bill, and he can do that. And so we're going to deliver a petition to him. And we've already got, it's only been up for a day and a half, and we've got 3,000 signatures and counting. So that's not just the drivers, that's people all over New Jersey who want to support you. But we need your help, because Gail has been working on this for a long time. I've been working on this for as long as I've been with the Bi-State. But like I said, at the end of the day, it's the Association of Bi-State Motor Carriers, New Jersey Motor Truck Association. The drivers are who they need to hear from, because we can try to advocate for you, but we can't speak for you. And so when you went to Trenton and you spoke, it was powerful, because they heard it directly from you. To look in your eyes, and when you say, I want to be independent, I need the flexibility, I have children that I need to watch, or if my child is sick and can't go to school, I have to stay home. They need to understand this, okay? And they're saying they want to protect you. You need to let them know how they're hurting you. And so the scariest part of all of this is how quickly things are moving. That's why we're here on a Saturday. That's why we're bringing you all these resources, and why you need to not wait. Don't put it off. You need to make these phone calls. And
for some that might be a little shy about making that phone call, you can also email.
Yeah, there's email. There are ways.
Feel more comfortable that way.
Yeah, if you don't feel comfortable talking on the phone or picking up the phone, you don't have to. You don't want them to have your number.
Yeah,
you can send them an email. There are different ways. You can sign the petition, and there's a place in the petition. You can be anonymous. That's another reason I did an online petition, so your name isn't out there, and you can tell your story there. And we're going to talk about other ways that you can get your point across and get your story out there without worrying about someone, retaliation. Yeah, we're going to talk about that. But just know that we are working really hard. We've been working on this for a long time, and others in the port. Someone had made a comment about this on social media, saying, "Well, where are the people that that are at the port?" I want you to know that we have been speaking with the other stakeholders at the port. It's not just the motor carriers that are sticking up for you. The New York Shipping Association wrote a letter for you guys. Mar Terminals wrote a letter to the Senate Labor Committee telling them, please stop with this bill. Don't push this through so quickly. Track chassis, they also were for it. There's a lot of folks who are speaking up for you guys. Okay, so I just want you to know that that's happening. So I think we're gonna get to a few little questions, and then we're gonna talk about. As far as the timing, so Senator Sweeney's bill was only announced on November 7th. That was just a little over 2 weeks ago, is when we first heard about it. And this was something. This is nothing new. This is something that actually already happened out in California. If you've heard about your driver friends out in California, they're already going through this. All of these bills passed in California in October. They were signed into law, and it's too late for them. The people in California, the drivers in California cannot be independent anymore, and no one knows how to fix it. They didn't realize what they were doing. The drivers' voices weren't heard. The bills were passed, and now they're stuck. They don't know what they're doing. And independent contractors, not just drivers, but lots of independent contractors can't work in California anymore. And so what's happening there is going to happen here if you don't step up. And so the bill was announced November 7th. It was heard and released from committee despite our opposition. We were there.
A lot of us.
I went there. I testified on your behalf, on behalf of the motor carriers. They released it anyway. on November 14th, right?
And New York Shipping and many other people.
And then, but I was told at the time, don't worry, there's no assembly bill.
Yeah.
It's just the Senate.
That was
Don't
on
worry, it's
Monday.
okay. That was on Wednesday night. I was assured, and then Thursday I went to Trenton, and I testified, and they released the bill. But they said, don't worry, they're going to meet with you. They're going to talk with your drivers. It'll be okay. The next day, Friday afternoon, the assembly version came out, and was being heard the following Monday, 3 days later. And we objected. We said, please don't do this. No one's called us back to have a meeting. No one has still called us back to have a meeting. I mean, it's been 2.5 weeks. The bill was released. Well, you had to meet, the lobbyists had a meeting, but the bill was released, and now we're waiting for the next step. It was referred. The assembly bill is going to appropriations committee that will probably meet December 5th. Again, the calendar doesn't come out until the last minute. So when we put out an alert, you need to act fast. If we tell you, okay, you need to call these people right now, you need to do it, or email those people, or get your friends to call and email. It's got to be quick, because things are going to happen fast. Because then after that, there's a lot of voting sessions between now and January. There's, I don't know.
The next one is December 16th.
December 16th,
They pull
both
it out of
the
appropriations and fix it whichever way they think it's good.
Right.
They're going to put it.
That's the timing we expect. We can't. Is it definitely going to happen?
We don't know.
Let's see how much you guys can get your voices out there. Maybe we can stop this and it won't happen. That would be wonderful, and I think we can do it. I think ultimately a lot of the legislators, they really do want to do the right thing. They just want to make sure you're not being taken advantage of. They have to hear from you, and then we can stop this. And people need to understand what's going on at the port. It's a different world, the port. People that are outside of the port community don't understand what's going on in the port, and that's partly on all of us. We haven't gotten the stories out there the way we should. And it's too late for California, it's not too late for us. We can do this. We can make the legislators understand why 77% of the drivers at the Port of New York and New Jersey are independent, and why it needs to stay that way. Why you need to have the option and the choice to choose to be independent if you want to, why the industry requires it. So that's what we're working on. And we're gonna, we've been doing our part to communicate with them, but now we need to help you get there. That's the missing piece. You're the missing piece. So that's what we're gonna do. Right there?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
And let me say something before we finish this. It hasn't been easy for independent drivers for all the things that we go through. Like they say, we choose that. We like driving our own trucks. We want to be independent. We know the risks. We know the hard life that we have to be, but we're happy. And that's the thing that nobody wants to understand. We like what we do. And like they say, we have I hear somebody say, but why you don't want to become a company driver? Why you don't want to let this bill pass? I don't want to let this bill pass because I was a driver. When I started in 1994, I drove for 5 years. And after I became an independent driver, I didn't want to go back to drive for a company anymore. I love being independent. It's a lot of hard work for me, waking up early and working late sometimes. But I love it. I believe you guys are here because you love it too. And for the people that are over there in live Facebook listening over there, I'm sorry about all the things that happen when it's live. We try to do these shows like this because we want you to see the real thing. We don't want to edit anything. We want to make sure that we have a lot of boo-boos. And I really apologize when you see the video, like what happened to the video, where the sound is bad. But this is, over the years, when you work for so many years with drivers, you learn the mistakes that we make in the past. Where's the mistake is we always have these meetings privately, and the majority never get a chance to see these kind of things. We have so many events with you, Ms. Kell, in the years that pass, and we have small groups, because everybody has different things. Weekends are the only days. When you're independent, weekends are the days to go to the mechanic, to take some time with the family, to take your daughters out to do grocery store, do the laundry. So we understand that. And that's why we do this live, so you can watch it when you home, relax. And it's been working. Because I know a lot of drivers tell me, yeah, when I'm sitting in all those long lines, I have a chance to watch and relax. And it's relaxing. So, and I saw something in the comments to say, it's great that we have the New Jersey Motor Trucking Association, the Bi-State, and the Port Driver Association finally working together. But it's because it's a good point that we need to make we together, because without drivers, there's no trucking companies. And without trucking companies, there's no independent drivers. So we need to get together to learn how to work as a group, one voice, and the government have to listen to our voice, because we are here, and we count. We are tired of people making different decisions without taking in consideration the people that are affected. And that's something that we want to change through these meetings. That's something that you and the other side of the camera, your telephone, can share and say, listen, I support this. I want to be independent, regardless if you're a truck driver or regardless what profession you are. Remember, this is not going to be only affecting truck drivers, because that's the assumption. You know, if you drive a truck cutting grass somewhere, you're going to be affected. Free riders are going to be affected. Lawyers that are independent may be affected in a way.
Yeah,
And then, yeah. So we have, it's not just for the persons or the accounting persons. You know, if you have all those ladies over there in Kearney, the ladies that help us with the LLC pins to do all the paperwork, the ETAs, all those places are going to be affected. So if you think this is only for drivers, you're mistaken. It's for everybody. So you have to come out. You have to start signing those emails and putting those voices out there. Let the government know that we don't have a perfect industry, but we love it the way it is. It needs to be a lot of changes, and we've been fighting about that. We don't agree on many things. But those changes have to be in the future for the better of the whole industry, not just one group. So I hope that you guys that are watching this Facebook Live, when you have a time, share this video. Watch us. For the people that don't have Facebook, you can tell them that we're going to have this video in YouTube, and Poor Driver Association YouTube. It's because we know a lot of people are not like Facebook, so they can watch it on YouTube. So we're going to be posting the links so everybody can watch. There's no excuses that you don't know that. Okay? And I know that we're supposed to do it in Spanish too, and we're going to do it at 2 o'clock. We're going to have a little reunion in Spanish for the groups in Spanish. So I just want to say, in this reunion, I want to have some...
Gail talking Spanish.
Yeah. I know, guys, you will be soon. We're going to have like 3 questions. Actually, we're going to have like 4 questions because of the amount of time. They have another meetings to go. But after we finish the live Facebook, we're going to answer some more questions and we have a chance to talk between us.
And I'm going to try to answer them in Spanish.
Hey, guys.
My
Not
really
No,
question or not question. The problem I feel on the United States freedom. So why the government now want to do that? Shoot for us to keep it on the own operator, you know. So now supposed to be USA freedom. We cannot shoot the driving deputy, you know. So I don't know what happened with the industry, you know, because every time the industry goes down, you know, when another people is sleeping, the driver is walking outside, you know, he's thinking about all the people, it's people, you know. So we can choose if we want independent or not, because supposed to be USA free country. You know?
That's a good point. Why we didn't target? That's a good question, Ms.
Well,
Gill.
it's because they've been told. There are people out there that have, and there are, but let's be honest, there's abuses certain places, and there's always bad apples in every group, and they should be shut down or addressed. But for the most part, people, you know, you choose, and you should have the freedom to choose what your American dream wants to be. But a lot of the politicians have been told that you're forced to be independent and that you're treated like, quote unquote, as I've heard, slave labor. And that you really don't make any money, and that you don't have any benefits, and you don't have this, you don't have that. But what they don't say is that's your choice, because maybe your spouse or significant other has benefits. Maybe you buy your own benefits. You know, they've just been told the wrong story. And as Lisa said, and what we're trying to urge you, and we've done this with Edison years ago, we've got to get the voice of the independent trucker out there. It's not enough for me and her to go and stand in front of in Trenton and go to the politicians saying, well, no, the drivers are fine. You know, we've had independent contractors come down. Gary came down, and they were impressive, and they're successful, and they're hardworking, and they don't need the interference. You know, they want to have their own business. Yet that's not the impression most politicians have. They've been told that it's just terrible for you, just terrible, and they're saving you. They're doing this for you. Yeah, they think you're saving it. So what? That's why you need to have your voice. They need to hear from you to say, no, this is my American dream, and I want to do this. My choice. It's my choice. And you know, if I didn't want to do it anymore, sell the truck and become an employee driver.
And we have that choice too. We can always
But
sell
they
the
don't
truck.
understand that.
And that's, you know, it is an important thing to point out. There are lots of jobs out there. If you wanted to be a company driver, we have a long list. We have members that only use company drivers. The trucks are beautiful. They give full benefits. You wanted that, you could have a job like that as a company driver. But that's what people don't understand. They're not listening to. They don't understand. I really believe they're not bad people. They just don't understand.
Okay, let me go with her first.
And again, this is not really a question. This is more about, since we're live, I want to get my point. First of all, thank you for being here and getting the word out. So, what I'm getting in my notes, the most important thing that I'm getting here, it's about our politicians. It's always the same. Act first, think later.
He's right.
My point is, I'm speaking on behalf of my college truckers here. And I'm kind of speaking very upset right now because it's really annoying. I believe that independent drivers are the most safe drivers out there on the road than company drivers. I'm not going to talk about those people, but I'm speaking on behalf of my truckers here. You know, we take care of our trucks. We spend a lot of money fixing our trucks. That is true. But why do we do it? As my colleague said, because we love it. We're not here because we want to get away from taxes. In my case, I opened my company a couple months ago. I filed as a W-2. I'm an employee of my own company.
Right, corporation?
Yes, that's what I did. We were told to because we were getting prepared for this.
Yes.
So we were told to get incorporated for this same reason. So I filed as a W-2. I pay federal taxes and state taxes.
Corporate business.
In corporate business, I do it every
And
3 months.
comp.
And payroll, and my accountant, taxes,
Your
you know,
business.
the IFTA thing, registration, all those things. We take care of all those things, and you know, we pay a lot of money to our government. The other thing is, I bought a second truck about 2 weeks ago. I hired
Before the bill.
before the bill. I just hired an employee 2 weeks ago. He's also going to file as a W-2, which is a full employee.
With taxes.
I pay my own workers' comp. He is under my workers' comp insurance. Therefore, I'm doing everything as legal as it should be. And for that reason, I want to be, you know, the word of many truckers right here that we're not doing it because, first of all, we're not being forced. We want to do it because we love to do this. I love what I do, and I feel like I never worked a day in my life because I just love trucking.
Congratulations, because you are the ultimate American dream personified. You're the reason we're fighting so hard. Because of people exactly like you. You are doing exactly what everybody in this room is trying to do. Just scratch out a living and do the best you can. And you are following the rules. You know, that's the thing, is they think there's all these people breaking the rules. Are there some people breaking the rules?
Everywhere.
In every business, and they should be held accountable. But it's too much, it's too quick. You're absolutely right. The speed at which this is going, that's one of the things that's really scary, is how fast things are being pushed through. And that was the other thing that I said over and over again, is okay, if this is so important that we need to put all these protections in, let's do it right. Let's not rush it. But you know, every single person in this room deserves to be heard, and I appreciate what you said as far as, you know, wanting to be heard and that you follow the rules and you pay taxes, all those taxes that you pay. This is a $7 billion industry here, the Port of New York and New Jersey. We're the biggest revenue generator in the region, and that's another reason, if not just because you're a person, you're a human being, and you deserve to have the American dream, the money that this industry contributes to this state is mind-boggling. And that, if nothing else, that should be getting their attention. Okay? So, and that's, but you are the ones they need to hear from, not us.
Okay, so we're gonna have 3 more questions, and then we're gonna have to let everybody, these wonderful ladies go. Go ahead.
Mine is more of a comment than a question. I really want to just let everybody know. My name is Gary Cooper. I'm a driver, just like y'all see me every day down in the port, Korean International MTI. I've been fighting this fight with Bill for like 5 years now. When no one was even thinking about this, we were down there fighting. I testified before the Senate twice for us, the drivers. You know what I'm saying?
And for the administration,
And
the
for the
governor's
administration,
staff.
too, the governor's staff too, privately with the governor's staff. What they're really trying to do is they're trying to eliminate owner-operators, which is us. To make it down clearly, they're trying to stop us owner-operators in the state of New Jersey from operating, which will mean that we would either have to go out of state and register our truck somewhere else and then try and find work and everything else, or we would have to sell our trucks and sign on to a bigger company and lose your independence. This is
Become
one
an
of the
employee.
things. Yeah, become an employee. Now, the main thing that we have to do right now, and I've been trying to get this over for the last years, is that they think that in our industry, that there's trucking companies who rip off people, who do people wrong. They send them out on loads, they don't pay them, you know what I'm saying? They take extra money out of their checks and everything else for workman's comp and this, that, and that, and they really don't have coverage. Those are some of the bad companies that the government is hearing about. Most of us, we go to work, we all lease on to somebody, we go to work, we do our runs, we pick up our check, and that's it. But the problem is that the ones that did wrong, they're hearing that, and they want to say, okay, now everybody in the state of New Jersey, truckers, Lyft, Uber, everybody else, you all have to start making everybody employees, so now we can keep account of you, and we'll know who's paying the workers right and who's not. They don't understand that we are businesses. We're not owner-operators, we are a business. Whatever your name is on your LLC is your business. When you file your taxes at the end of the year, it's for your business. It's not for company you lease to. It's for your business. You're responsible for paying those taxes. You're responsible for everything in your business. They don't hear that. I went down and testified a couple of times, and they're still not hearing it because there's only a couple of us that go down and do it. Right now, this bill right here is being pushed through. Before the last couple of times, it was slowed down, it was pushed back, it was slowed down and pushed back. Believe me, in the last 60 days, this bill moved faster than it ever did in the last 5 years. They're trying to push this through. What's happening now, the government is changing. Everybody who got elected, the senators and stuff is changing, and everybody's changing up. They call it a lame duck section down in Trenton, when everybody's changing and everything is in. They're trying to get people who they know who going out to sign the bill. Because they don't care. They don't care about us.
But we care.
Yeah.
And we're gonna fight.
And
We don't wanna stay quiet.
everybody have to, even if, it may sound like something small, but that email that you can send, if we get enough emails, like in California, they had 70,000, and the bill still went through. 70,000 truckers signed that bill. I know this law from beginning to end, here in New Jersey and California's law. And 70,000 truckers signed it, and it still went in. I have a friend now in California. He's trying to figure out what he's gonna do before January. He's trying to go to his cousin's house in Arizona to register his truck. He had his truck for 25 years. 25 years an owner operator. And now he's stuck of saying, what am I gonna do? This is all I know. I have my business. He had his business 25 years. This is when somebody come and say to a guy that have a restaurant, you gotta shut down today. Why? Because the law changed. That's what they're doing to us. You gotta close your business because we're trying to change the law, because enough of you haven't said my business is correct. It's been here, and most people didn't realize the owner-operated driver was started right here in New Jersey, right here in Elizabeth. You don't even know that. The first owner-operator came right out of here. And now how can we not say we got to stand up for our industry? It started here. We're going to continue to keep it working here. But the only way, you know how many drivers we see down the port? Half of them don't even know what's going on.
And that's why we do
That's
this.
why you gotta get out there and talk to them.
They don't know what's going on.
So I don't want to close the show already, but because of time, we're going to have to go one more person. Anybody else has a question? So we're going to do with Ms. Gell, and start with Ms. Gell, the last final words.
I do want to actually thank Gary. He's been wonderful because I know every time we have to drag him down to Trenton, he's losing a day's pay. So thank you so much, and the rest of the people here should appreciate the efforts that you've done. Because they do need to hear voices. And not a lot of people step up because it becomes, hey, you're losing a day of work and getting the word out. It is critical. Please go to Port Driver Association's website, sign, you have the petition link, sign the petition. We have information on our website at njmta.org. By state, it's
bystatemotorcarriers.com.
bystatemotorcarriers.com. Please make those emails, phone calls. Can they do faxing? You might be able to fax. They might have some fax machine somewhere left. The petition is moving. Send it, the link, to everybody you know, and ask them to send it. Ask your friends, your family. Send it. This means the difference whether we survive or we don't in New Jersey. And Gary said it very well. It's crazy in California. I'm working with a California association. It's insane out there. You've got companies telling their drivers that are independent, well, if you want to be, because it's just so bad that if you want to keep working with them, you're going to have to move. You are going to have to move out of California. And you can't continue your contract with them unless you show a CDL license with the residents of out of the state.
And you make a good point. I want to make sure that if you say you have to move out of the state, not just your business, your CDL license. So
Yes.
think about that. That's
You
a
have to
good point.
prove residents out of state, or else, again, they're going to come after you. So this is dead serious. So, and I know you all want to do this because you wouldn't be doing this. It's a hard job. You wouldn't be doing this if you really wanted to do it. Okay? So if you really want to do it, and all the people that aren't in this room, and granted everyone didn't know we were going to do this, is all done last minute, just like Bill. You got to get the word out. We're going to try to do other events to try to get and reach more drivers. To say that this is the information. We want you to have that was the point of us coming here. We wanted to make sure you had the right information. Because I hate to tell you, I do a lot of driver training. It's sort of like the Russian telephone game with drivers. And, I told you this, and he told you that, and then he told you that. By the time you get the answer, you got to hear some of the crazy regulations we have. They're not true, but it's because it's a lot of misinformation. We want to try to set the record straight, and it's very critical. We are not kidding. This is dead serious. You have to act. So if you're uncomfortable on the phone, send an email. At the very least, sign the petition or write a letter. Anything that you can do. And we are going to give you all an opportunity after this session that you could do something for us as well. And we'll talk about that after.
And my last thing that I want to say is that I'm also an independent contractor. I have been for 32 years. Started very, very, very little. I live in New Jersey, and I'm not moving. I'm not going anywhere. Okay? So if they think they're going to put me out of business, they got another thing coming. And I'm short, but I'm feisty. Truckers, especially the truckers in New York, New Jersey, are tough. You go to any other port, I'm sorry, up and down the eastern seaboard, one snowflake falls out of the sky, they shut everything down. You guys,
Can't drive.
snow's coming sideways, you're still getting the stuff delivered because you know you bring food, you bring medicine, you bring supplies that are so important. So I know we're not going to give up. We're going to do this. I'm excited because I think everyone is united in this and we are mobilized and we have the tools that we need to get this done. They're going to hear you and we're going to make sure they hear you and we're not going anywhere.
That's all I think. On my behalf, I just want to say thank you to you two ladies. It was a pleasure having these reunions. I hope that we can have many more drivers out there in here. Thank you for you too. With our independent drivers, the local and the international economy stops. And that's something that nobody understands. If you have anything that you like in your house, we brought it to your table. We brought it to your house. So please, if you have a family member that's a truck driver, maybe one day you want to become a truck driver, get involved, help us. We need the help, we need the support. If you have a cousin, a sister, tell them to help us too. Because anybody can become an independent contractor at any time the way the system is right now. But if they change it, those doors are going to be open for people like him, who is just starting his life as an independent contractor, and many of us that being here, like the one that we show in Facebook, 60 years old, purchased the last truck with a program that we don't even know what's going to happen with those trucks that have a contract for 5 years. That's something that probably the politicians don't understand, that we hope that you guys press attention. We have contracts that the Port Authority make us bound on it to keep those trucks for 5 years. Some of those people just engaged in those contracts, so that means that they will have to pay the ground back. How are they going to do that? How are we going to get those trucks? They are sitting everywhere. I just want to mention this, but a lot of people that don't know. If you think that you can just get the truck and sell it, who are you going to sell those trucks to? You can't use it. So who's going to pay those grants? Who's going to pay those loans? For all these drivers, they went and purchased trucks so they can continue working in the port industry. Because they asked us to change our filthy trucks, they call us. And we did it because we love the industry, we love working in the ports, and we went and get in debt. So if they take the independent drivers, who's going to pay those loans? How many banks are going to go belly up because of those loans? How many people are going to have to struggle? Mechanics, tire, road service that you see everywhere. Who is going to use those? Big companies don't use road service. Big companies have their own trucks. So it becomes a ripple effect for everybody.